So we look at this. We've got now an understanding of the philosophy. We've associated it with practice a little bit. But all of this encompasses the psychology, because we're working, as we move beyond the physical body, we start to work with the mind. And I know that a lot of the literature will talk about, they'll talk about mind stuff. Okay, so the vritti can be described in different ways. Vritti can be described as mind stuff, fluctuations. So what I'd like to do is just to break it down a little bit at how, to give us an understanding of what we're actually doing. And again, the different schools of thought can describe this differently. So chitta, that word chitta, the field of consciousness, or the mental field. In Samkhya, they describe it in one way, and in Vedanta, they describe it in another way. So you may have heard of chitta, or the field of consciousness, being described as the storehouse or of all experiences. It's the place where all our samskaras, our latent impressions, our karmas, our conditionings, all of this is kept within the field of consciousness. Now, within Advaita Vedanta, this field of consciousness is confined to our individual. That is, that within our own minds, we have our own chitta, we have our own field of consciousness. So that's the Advaita Vedanta explanation. Within Samkhya, they'll say that this field of consciousness is unbounded, so that storehouse of latent impressions, latent conditionings is without boundary. It's universal. And so there's a difference in understanding. However, through reflection, we're able to see that, okay, well, if I have my own individual field of consciousness and I'm experiencing it within my own being, and this is the storehouse of the samskaras and the karmas, the latent impressions and conditionings, which are within my own field of consciousness. If I'm moving beyond the physical body, okay, where is this individual consciousness or this individual field of consciousness? If I move beyond the emotional body, now where is this field of consciousness? And then if I move beyond the faculty of mind, like if I start to move into deeper depths of mind, then where is this field of consciousness? Like, where is its boundaries? And so we can compare it to the subconscious mind, as in that when we move to the subtler levels of mind, the boundaries which are containing this field of consciousness, they don't have any relevance anymore, because we're losing this sense of individuality. So the field of consciousness doesn't have that boundary partition anymore. So now we can understand why Samkhya talks about the field of consciousness as being universal, because Samkhya doesn't see any boundary or partitioning or individualization of this chitta. So that's just to explain, for the sake of understanding different literature that you might come across. But essentially, fundamentally, the field of consciousness is universal, like there's one cosmic mind. And so usually within this Kriya Yoga tradition, that's the way we'll talk about the chitta, the field of consciousness, as one cosmic mind. It's the cosmic mind that we're trying to we're trying to neutralize the movements within this field of consciousness. But in terms of our being able to do it, we don't need to concern ourselves with the cosmic mind. We just need to, first of all, just concern ourselves with, okay, in terms of my own individual experience, how am I doing? Of course, as you move into the most subtle levels, then it's something that you can be more concerned with. But right now, in terms of your personal practice, in terms of your own individual experience, your field of consciousness, what's going on? So what we'll do is we'll look at the mind in terms of the 4 faculties of mind that are defined. So we saw that within Samkhya, they talk about the capacity to perceive reality through the sense faculties. They'll talk about the objects of the senses and the 2 of them engaging and interacting. Preceding that is mind. So when we're sitting to meditate and we move inward and we're, okay, I'm disengaged with the external world. I can't see anything that's going on. This room is super quiet. I can't hear anything. That's great. There's no smell, there's no taste. That's fantastic. I'm very comfortable in this chair. There's nothing which is interrupting me in terms of sensation. Everything's fine. Great. And then we internalize our attention, and then we're moving it towards the mind. So now what's going on in the mind? What are we actually trying to do? So the way the mind is defined and described is that it's made up of 4 components. So we looked at the chitta. Okay. The chitta is the storehouse of latent impressions, conditionings. But you have what's called manas. Manas is referred to as the sense mind. So as we're engaging in our ordinary day-to-day lives, or even when we have our eyes closed, in fact, anything which is being received to this mind-body system, any kind of data which is being offered to the mind-body system and then is being assimilated or digested or taken in, that's occurring through the sense mind. So that's manas. So when we sit to meditate, we close our eyes and we sit in a quiet room so as to ensure that manas, that aspect of mind, the sense mind, can be disciplined, basically, so that we can quieten it down. That's fantastic, because then in that way, we won't be interrupted in our concentration. Our concentration can become more focused more easily. But what happens then, we sit with our eyes closed, our manas is being disciplined. We may find issue with our physical body. We may start finding discomfort. We may start the subtlest sound, the sound of a ticking clock, or a very subtle sound of maybe a bee on the window or a fly on the window. Subtle sounds may start to irritate us. And this is all the sense mind. So the sense mind is manas. And that's the faculty of mind which is responsible for passing data from whatever aspect of external reality into our internal reality. And chitta. Chitta is the accumulation, as we mentioned, is the accumulation of all stored experiences. So these are all the latent impressions. These are all the conditionings. These are our beliefs and our opinions and our ideas and our memories and the feelings associated with all of those. And they're all in there. And some of them are, up near the front and up near the top, and some of them are deeper down, and some of them are very, very deep down. So when we sit, and if we manage to, discipline our sense mind and everything's pretty all right, we'll start to notice the chitta more. And so the chitta, initially it might just throw us up a random memory, a memory from our childhood, or it might throw us up the last scene of a movie that we watched about 3 months ago. It could throw us up anything. What it throws up may be favorable or unfavorable. But our whole objective, of course, is not to become engaged in it. Our objective is to simply allow it to rise up and let it go, allow it to rise up and let it go. There's a lot of information in there. So it's natural that this is going to rise up, especially now that we've quietened down the sense mind. The chitta is like, yeah, I've got full stage. Here we go, boom, boom, boom. And so it'll start doing this. And it's natural that it's going to do this. It does it all the time. Right now, you're receiving information and you're listening to me. This information is data. Your sense faculties, your ears are perceiving it. If you're watching me, then your eyes are perceiving it. And there may be an emotional response to it. So you're having this emotional response to it within your body. That could be triggering the thoughts or the different impressions which are in your chitta, in your field of consciousness, in your deep mind. So this sense data is going to trigger something within your sense mind. So even if I say the word banana, you hear it, it might give you, if you really break it down, you hear the word banana, then you have to think of a banana. Okay, so now you have a specific banana in your mind. Is it a yellow one or a green one or a black one? You've got all this process taking place. Then you've got the feeling whether you like banana or you don't like banana. Maybe then the chitta throws up a memory. Oh, remember that time that you had a banana and it was it tasted awful, or a different thing, or oh, I really liked bananas when I was a child. I wonder I don't like bananas now. And all of this will come up as a response to the sense data. But when we're sitting to meditate and we close off the sense mind, the manas, we close it off, then the chitta is just going off its own accord. And then initially it might be gross thoughts, but if we're sitting there And we go through this practice and we do it repetitively. If we meditate daily and we meditate for longer and progressively longer, then we're going to allow this stuff to rise up. Our objective is to ensure that it just expresses without our identifying it. Once we identify with it, we give it power. And even though it goes back down again, it's now charged up again. It's got more of a vibration. If we just allow it to go, then that's it. It's expressed itself. And the thing about the chitta is the thoughts within there are interrelated. They're connected with sensations and feelings within the body. So when you have a biochemical response of embarrassment within your body, you might have a biochemical response. Something happened, you had a biochemical response in your body, which caused you to feel a little bit of fear, embarrassment. But that is going to be associated with multiple thoughts within the field of consciousness. And then these can be triggered. Within our meditation practice, we're doing our utmost. We're doing our very best to create an environment where we're not going to be triggered by externals, where we're sitting internalized, and whatever's coming up, we're just allowing it to express. Boom. The issue is the ahamkara. Now, the ahamkara is the sense of individual existence. So this is the third faculty of mind. We had chitta, we had manas, and now we have ahamkara, the sense of individual existence, ego, or the sense of ego. And this is when things get complicated, because the ego wants to define its sense of individual existence based on something. It cannot, existence isn't recognized to be the natural reality. Existence needs to be defined in accordance with something. So I need this, the ego says, I need this to say that this is me. I need this to say that I am. I need this to say that I exist. Now that's not true because you exist anyway, but this is the faculty of mind which does that. It gives that sense of self-importance, sense of individual existence. So now that we shut everything off from the external world, there's nothing for us to, when you're looking around your room, you might be able to see some things which you can say, oh yeah, that's mine. This gives me that memory. This is mine. Somebody gave me this, me, I, and that's fine. But in our meditation practice, we are not engaging with any of that stuff. So now the only thing that's possible for the I to engage with is the stuff coming up from the chitta, from the deep mind. And so something might come up, and it's up to us then to decide, no chitta, I don't want to identify with that, or chitta, identify with that, or as ego, identify with that. So when it rises up, it could be a case of the ego saying, oh, here's my opportunity to approve my existence, to prove I am, so I'm going to focus in on this. But we don't want to do that. So we use the fourth faculty of mind. We use the fourth faculty of mind, which is the buddhi, the innate intelligence, our capacity to discern and to discriminate with intelligence. So ordinarily in our lives, we don't use this enough. We've gotten into the habit of allowing the data and the deep mind to just continually to process information, and then we allow ego to continually identify with that. There are some moments when we'll use our intellectual capacities to discern the truth of what's going on, but ordinarily we don't. But in our meditation practice, that's exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to use our intelligence to say, hey, wait a minute. Well, okay, what's going on here? So the intelligence says, please sit still, please close your eyes, please do all this to get away sense data. Perfect. That's what the intelligence says. Your ego says, no, but I don't want to sit here. I don't like this chair. Your innate intelligence, if we listen to it more, will say, it's okay. It's only for a half an hour. It's not a big issue. And your ego will say, no, but whatever. So we need to just give our power or give our attention to what the buddhi is saying, the innate intelligence, and not what the ego is saying. And then as we're practicing our meditation, from the depths of our mind, when we're sitting there and this thought is thrown up. And at that point, the ego will say, I want it. And the buddhi will say, you can't have it. And so we're endeavoring to empower the buddhi to take control, to manage the situation, to manage these office workers, so to speak, so that they're doing their duty when they need to do their duty, but not taking over and not taking control of the mind-body system. So this is what we're doing. So we'll use our meditation techniques, and we'll use different techniques for cultivating concentration. What's going on? Like, even if we look at mantra, when we use mantra, we are synchronizing our mantra with the breathing process. The breathing process helps us to, by being aware of the breathing process, we're helping to be more aware of what's happening internally. And it'll gradually become more and more subtle, as we talked about previously in relation to prana. It becomes more and more subtle. And we're synchronizing and paralleling the use of mantra on top of that. So we're using whatever word or word phrase which is pleasing on top of the breathing process. We're doing that, and that's our object for focusing on. Now, the sense that we've moved away, the chitta will have stuff to say. The ego might not like the fact that you're only giving me these two stupid things to focus on. You're giving me the breath. I never have to pay attention to the breath. I've been breathing since you were born, and now you're making it a big deal. Come on. Or the mantra. Yeah, this mantra is great and everything, but God, we have so much more vocabulary. Can we say something else? So there's this kind of just not finding enough to give the ego a sense of I am, and I am important, and I exist, and I need things to define. So it's going to become restless. So the buddhi, the sense of innate intelligence and our capacity to discern, that's the tool, that's the faculty of mind we're trying to cultivate. So when we're meditating and we're using our mantra and the thought comes up, it's at that point that we may become distracted, but it's the buddhi that's going to help us to stay concentrated. It's the buddhi that's going to help us to stay on point and to move into more subtle states of awareness. So really, through our practice of meditation, what we're trying to do is to cultivate the capacity to remain. We're cultivating the capacity for our buddhi to be the deciding force within the mind. So this is the process. And really, the whole process is a process of cultivating the capacity to discriminate. Now, I always remember Roy talking about yoga as being a path for helping us to develop our capacity to discriminate. And I have listened to Roy many times, and I had the privilege of being in CSA and listening to Roy face to face many times. But it took me a couple of years, a good few years really, to really appreciate the capacity to discriminate, the capacity of us to trust our own innate intelligence to guide us, rather than trusting our desire to reassure our sense of individual existence. So it's really a case of letting go of, I don't need to do this to prove who I am or what I am or that I exist. Instead, I just need to trust my own capacity to discern what's important from what's not important, what's reality from what's not reality. And so all of this practice helps us to master our intuitive knowing of what's true, of what's real. And in order to be able to do this, we get back to that whole principle of concentration, because in order to be able to know what's going on and discern through what's true from what's not true, reality from unreality, we need to be aware. We need to be focused. And so we rely on concentration as a means for us to know what's going on. And in our formal meditation practice, we do this within the incubated space. That's fine. But when we stand up from our practice and we go about living our day, it doesn't end. That endeavor to maintain concentrated awareness continues. That endeavor to allow our own innate, intuitive capacity to discern what's true from what's not true continues. It keeps going. And so Patanjali in the Yoga Sutras, he defines two key aspects to experiencing yoga. He defines one as being practice. Now, when he talks about practice, he's not talking about sadhana. He's not talking about the formal practices that we do. He does mention them later, but that's not what he's talking about in this. He's talking about the continuous practice of abiding as the self, abiding as the seer, abiding in a state of clarified, pure consciousness. That's the practice. That's what we're continuously doing. In our formal meditation practice, we're doing it in a manner which is a training ground. But in our lives, we're doing it in a manner where now we've opened up the manas, the sense mind. So it's no longer we're just dealing with the chitta. Now we're dealing with the sense mind as well. So there's a lot going on, but we're endeavoring to cultivate the capacity to rely on the buddhi, the innate intelligence. And we're doing this even when we're engaging with our daily affairs. So this is the practice. And we'll miss the mark sometimes. Sometimes we won't get it right, but we return, and we return to trying to do it with greater effectiveness and with greater capacity. And it's a continuous practice, and we keep on doing it. So that's one side. But the other side that Patanjali outlines as being fundamental to our experiencing yoga is non-attachment. Non-attachment. So we have two sides. Practice, the continuous practice of always staying anchored, poised in our essential nature, which is clarified, pure, conscious being. And the other one is letting go, just being non-attached to anything which is going to prevent us from doing that. Letting go of anything which is going to become an impediment to our experiencing that, whether it's something in a gross world, in terms of like the everyday going on, or something which is going on at an emotional level, or something that's going on a mental level. We need to be prepared to let go at every level in order to facilitate the practice of staying attuned to our essential nature. So these two are two essential aspects to experiencing yoga, as explained by Patanjali in the first book of the Yoga Sutra. But in order to be able to do either of these, we need to have concentration. We need to be concentrated. And so our meditation practice, it's a training ground. It provides us with the capacity to connect with our pure conscious being, to familiarize ourselves with that experience, familiarize ourselves with our essential nature, so that when we stand up and we go around the world, we're able to remember that state, remember our essential nature with greater ease. We're able to shift our perspective, or shift our awareness, so that we're back in that space of clarity, of purity, of knowing. And so our formal meditation practice gives us that ability. But our formal meditation practice also helps us to develop concentration. So when we are in our practice, it's all about developing the capacity to concentrate, so that we can experience meditation, so that we can experience absorption. But in our lives, by living on purpose, by living with intention, by living with the objective of fulfilling our intentions, then we're able to remain concentrated. And by being concentrated, then it's easier for us to stay attuned to our essential nature, and also to let go of everything which is preventing us from staying attuned to our essential nature. Now, meditation nowadays is very much like I remember even just 10 years ago, wasn't it? No, it would have been more. It would have been about 12 to 13 years ago when I started offering meditation workshops and teaching people. Even then, within Ireland, I'm not sure about in the United States, it wasn't, or other countries, it wasn't as talked about. And the word mindfulness nowadays has become a key word, like a real commonplace term within institutions and organizations and places that you wouldn't have in the past expected to hear it. And these are things which Paramahansa Yogananda and Roy Eugene Davis talked about in terms of the fact that we are, as a species, we're waking up. And so while meditation as a practice is becoming more and more popular, and while Kriya Yoga as a tradition is developing more and more presence, even though it has had presence for quite some time, but it's developing more and more, we really need to reflect on why we're doing it and what it's all about for us. So at the beginning, I asked you to define what yoga was for you, and that's fine. We went through and we talked about the philosophy, and we broke it down in relation to the practice. And then we broke it down in relation to the psychology, how it works with our minds. And all of this, this kind of explanation can be helpful. What I've found from my own experience of practicing yoga and being part of this Kriya Yoga tradition and adhering to formal, disciplined practices, while also endeavoring to do my best in terms of my day-to-day life, what became apparent is that while yoga is the practice, while we're endeavoring to do this, and we have to learn things so as to be able to apply them and to get the results from them, yoga is also the result. Yoga is the final experience, that state of consciousness where we are no longer, you're no longer in need of identifying with any aspect of manifested reality. We no longer need to do that at all, because we are very much grounded in the experience that we exist. We exist, I exist, like the one exists. And there's nothing which is needed to prove that. There's no need for identification or association with anything. It's happening. And so this understanding of yoga as being the final result has helped me a lot in my own personal practice, because we are, I've gone through a lot of the philosophy and the concepts, but the concepts themselves are just the means for us to be able to understand it. And while I fully appreciate the value of yoga as a system, and I'm very grateful for everything which is being served to me and being offered to me, and which has benefited me so much as part of the Kriya Yoga system, it seems to me that ultimately what we're endeavoring to do is to just be. And that is what the end result is. And so we will all be at different stages. You're taking part in this retreat, and we are together, and we're talking about these things. And some of you will take what I'm saying in one way, and others will take another. And this is the beauty of it. This is the beauty of the way that this reality is expressing. I give this same talk in another week, and you all come back again, and you come to listen to me, if you come to listen to me, and you may get something totally different. And why is that? The process of being able to accept reality and being able to understand reality and our relationship to it, so that we're able to accept it at even deeper levels. This whole process is what allows us to wake up. And it's beautiful in terms of the fact that it's just another way that life shows its fantastic colors. It's another way where pure consciousness and absolute reality reveals its total beauty and majesticness. We at the beginning, when we looked at this is reality, this is what's going on, ultimately it's being able to just surrender to that will give us the greatest peace. And so we use these practices as a means to help to just remove the impediments. So our consciousness isn't fragmented anymore by any sense of what we think should happen, what we think things should be like, how we think things should go, what we think yoga should be doing, what we think the Kriya Pranayama technique should be doing, all of this, like our projection, our expectations, our wants. It's a case of just getting to understand what is true. And so while there's times in our path we will misunderstand things. I know I've misunderstood things, and I know I've misconstrued certain teachings. The whole process is one of an unfolding, and it's an evolutionary process, and it's a very beautiful process. And although we may not get a liberation just like that right now, just because we've listened to this talk, there's something very beautiful in the fact that we're participating in the process. And this, for me, this is the accepting the reality. This is the acknowledging the beauty of the reality right now as it is.